Hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar. I'm just waiting for the last couple of people to come in. We're going to be getting started right on time today.
It's 12 o'clock.
Which is fantastic. So here they come, the last few people that are coming in now. So welcome, this is going to be a fantastic webinar. It's all about Mailchimp. So Mailchimp 101 is what we'll be going through today, and we had quite a number of registrations today. So welcome to you all. And we are right on 12 o'clock, so I'm going to get straight into it, guys. So welcome to this webinar, Mailchimp 101. This workshop is a webinar brought to you today by the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Program, delivered by Business Station, Regional Development Australia and Treaty Business Consulting across Australia. So before I get much further, can I just get the thumbs up from somebody that you guys can all hear me? From my end, it appears to be working good, but I always like to double check to make sure that the sound is working and you can hear me before I get too far into it. Excellent, thank you very much, appreciate that. So you'll notice that your microphones are muted. That's for better sound quality and for the comfort of everybody on board today. This is an interactive webinar, however, so if you have any questions, I do encourage you to put them into the chat feature of Zoom. And everybody who is registered for this webinar today will receive a copy of the recording. Now, I do suggest that you have a pen and paper next to you just in case you have any questions come up along the way that you can write them down. I will make sure that I leave time at the end for questions and answers. But this webinar today is solely about Mailchimp, using Mailchimp and the operation of Mailchimp. So a little bit about me. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kerrie Saverin and I'm the co-founder of ASBAS Business Solutions. So obviously we're very proud to be part of the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Program, and we really enjoy delivering these webinars on a weekly basis and our one-on-one sessions that we do also. So you're in the right place today if you're ready to get an inside look of Mailchimp and also to learn some of the best practices for using the platform and email in general. So what you'll learn today is you'll learn what Mailchimp is. We'll have a little chat about engaging subject lines and images, because that's a really important part of emails. And then we're going to go live inside Mailchimp and have a look at the program and the interface. So what is Mailchimp? Well, Mailchimp is a marketing automation platform and an email marketing service. Now, it's one of the most popular email marketing platforms. So there are a few platforms coming out in competition. It's probably had the most longevity, Mailchimp. And for those of you like me who have been using the program since 2012, I've been using it. So you're talking 9 years now. It's had a lot of revamp since then. It's a very basic platform. But it has come a long way in terms of what it could do when it started and what it could do now. But essentially, of course, everything has changed in that time, as in expectations of what we expect as consumers, and also with the introduction of smartphones and apps and things like that. So of course it would have evolved. Now, as for pricing, I hope this is right. I didn't actually check this since the last time that I ran it, and this is in US dollars, unfortunately. But you can have the free version of Mailchimp, which is where I recommend most of my clients start. Just get a feel for the program to see whether it's for you or not. You can see there you can have up to 2,000 contacts. You can have one audience, and I know a lot of people like to have multiple audiences, but I'm going to say if you have one business, then you have one audience. The only time I would recommend multiple audiences is if you have more than one business. There is the Essentials one as well. So you go up to the next one, it's called the Essentials. And you can have up to 5,000 contacts there, 3 audiences. But again, if you've only got one business, you only need one. And then you've got the standard up to 100,000 contacts, 5 different audiences, and includes a few more features there as well, and then all the way up to the premium. So I think the reason why Mailchimp has been one of the most popular platforms, email platforms, is just simply because of its affordability and being able to start out with free. So things that, that don't cost you anything, that you can give a try. The one thing I will tell you though is that when you start going up in the different pricing, it is all calculated based on the number of contacts that you have in your database. So as your database grows, you find that you pay a little bit more for Mailchimp. And there are other platforms that are now coming out in competition that it's one price and one price only, but they don't start out at $9.99. That's the other catch. So you do have to write your pros and cons list when you're choosing an email marketing platform to use. One might be charging $25 a month, but you can have absolutely unlimited contacts and your costing is not worked out on the number of contacts that you have. But then you have Mailchimp that starts out at free. So this is really great for those small micro businesses who are just starting out, just to get a feel for what you want to do with when it comes to your email. The next thing we're going to move into, you can see I'm moving very quickly through this because the Mailchimp interface is where we want to be, but I do want to have a chat to you guys a little bit about engaging subject lines and images. Now, as I said to you, primarily this webinar today is based around Mailchimp and the using of Mailchimp and what the platform looks like, etc. But I do just like to touch on this one just a little bit because it's often questions that people have at the end. So what is an engaging subject line? Well, what's interesting is that we've all seen those subject lines that simply have you reaching for the delete button straight away. You don't even know, like you don't even open them. So I think what's interesting is that we all know what is not an engaging subject line. So, things that even to today, where a lot of people send out newsletters and say, monthly newsletter, even that's just not engaging. If I don't want to read your monthly newsletter, it's getting deleted. Like, what's your monthly newsletter going to tell me? So having an engaging subject line is really important. So it needs to be something that quickly grabs the attention of the reader and has them wanting more by opening the email. Please don't use any tricks. I get this all the time where people send me an email for the first time and then go re our phone conversation or re our appointment. And because it makes you open it because you think, appointment, what are they talking about? Well, yes, you've just opened their email and that's increased their open rate, yes. But when you get in there and you realize it's a whole heap of advertising, you're not really happy. So don't use any tricks like that. It needs to be something that gets their attention, but is also quick to the punchline and is about whatever you are sending through. So I've just given an example here, 7 steps to living peacefully with a workaholic. So this is a blog that we wrote a little while ago and we send out to some of our subscribers. So not everybody's going to open that email, I understand that. But an engaging subject line is not about tricking someone into opening your email. It's about giving them a really quick snapshot as to what the email is about and whether they want to open it or not. And if they're not opening that email, then maybe you need to reassess the topic of your email. So you can see how all of this kind of throughs. Now, along with that, once they've, you've got the engaging subject line and they've opened up the email, the next most important thing is engaging graphics. Now, your email graphics need to be professional and they need to be relevant to the subject line. So either to the subject line or to the subject that you're telling about. So if I'm sending you an email about frogs and you open the email up and there's a picture of a building, you're going to say, what's going on? I thought this email was about frogs. So that's why it's important. I always say try and make the image relevant to the subject line because you don't want to turn somebody off straight off the bat with an image that's in your email after they've just gone and opened it. So videos can be used. Just make sure to include subtitles if you are going to use videos in your emails. You can embed YouTube videos into your emails. Most people are watching these videos without sound these days, so it's really important that you have those subtitles on there for people to be able to read. Canva is a really great place to start for designing content. That's another graphic design platform. For those of you that haven't heard of it, it's a very easy drop and drag graphic design platform that starts out exactly like Mailchimp with a free version as well. So if you want to know more about Canva, we do run a workshop. We run webinars on Canva as well. So it might be worth looking into. So now we're going to go and we're going to have a look inside the Mailchimp interface to give you all an idea of what it looks like. It basically has 3 basic components. All these linked together. They allow you to automate, organize, and all that kind of stuff. So we've got audiences that we're going to be talking about today. We've got campaigns that we're going to be talking about today, and we've got tags that we're going to be talking about today. So let's not waste any time. I will now make sure that I'm sharing the correct screen because I quite often don't. So bear with me for a second while I just change my share over to the different screen. Okay. There we go. You should all now be able to see my Mailchimp screen if that is all going according to plan. Can someone just again give me the thumbs up or a little bit of indication? Not yet. There we go. See, this is why I check. Let's go new share here. There we go. Have you got it now, guys? You should have it up now. It helps if you actually press share in the first place. So excellent. So this is what it will look like when you sign into your Mailchimp account. Now we're actually in my Altitude Business Solutions account. I don't have a training account. I find that way too difficult to run a training account. So I just show you guys exactly what I'm doing for my business. And this is the screen that it brings me to, which is showing me the most recent email that I have sent out. This was sent out on the 5th of April. And it's giving me some most recent stats for that particular, they call them campaigns. So whenever you're sending out an email or anything like that, they call them campaigns within Mailchimp. So it's giving me all of the stats from that last email that I sent through. So it is telling me that there was 808 people who received it, that it had a 28% open rate, that it had a 1% click through. And out of those 808 recipients, you can see that there was 800 successful deliveries. So this is a really great way just to get a quick snapshot of your emails as you're sending them out. There is the opportunity for you to integrate if you are a business that runs events or sells courses or something along those lines. You can integrate Mailchimp through places like Eventbrite, and you can put coding onto your website also, so that Mailchimp will actually track whether somebody has gone from your email all the way through and actually purchased something. In the case of our business, a lot of the stuff that we recommend is through the ASBAS program. Obviously, we don't have access to any of that kind of data as we work for them. So there's no total revenue or anything that's been collected from the majority of our emails. But you can see there, 28% open rate, not too bad, not our best, but you know, considering it was an email talking about the number of spots that we had left for April, probably not everybody is going to be interested in that. We had 12 people click through to the website. So whether they booked sessions or not, unfortunately, we can't tell. But if we were certainly in control of where they were booking, we could put a code in and we would be able to know whether people are booking or not. So really interesting little stats on the front page. Over to the left-hand side, you'll notice that there's what I like to call the vertical menu. So it starts at the top. It's got the little monkey at the top. The little monkey will always lead you back to your dashboard. So whenever you are in Mailchimp, if you're like, I just want to get back to my home screen on my dashboard, you just click on this little monkey in the top corner and it will take you there. Then you've got create. This is where we create emails and campaigns. You've got your audiences. So this is the people who you are sending the email to. Then we've got campaigns. Remember I was telling you that Mailchimp calls emails campaigns, but they do have a lot of other things that you can make also. We've got automations. Now this is not available in the free version. So I'm not sure if you'll even see this in the free version or not, or whether it will just come up telling you that you need to upgrade, but there are some automations that you can have in the paid version. Mailchimp also allow you to create websites. So if you were having events and you wanted to create your own website for that event, you could do that also. There's the Content Studio. This is relatively new, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time in there myself. We have a lot of templates already sent up, so I don't really need to go into that section. And then we have integrations. So this is where you can connect all of your programs that are available to connect with Mailchimp. So I can tell you that Canva does integrate with Mailchimp. So if you create a graphic in Canva, you can say send to my Mailchimp account, so that when you create your email in Mailchimp, that graphic will actually be in your library. And there are other platforms that integrate with it as well. So if you are using a platform that doesn't. I'll give you a really good example. Our CRM system that we use does not integrate with Mailchimp, but we can actually make them talk to each other through a program called Zapier. So most things you can actually join together through Zapier. Down the very bottom in the left-hand corner, you'll notice it's got my little logo, and it also has the number 1 telling me that there is actually a message there for me to read. But this is where your account settings are. So for those of you that had been on Mailchimp a very long time ago, it used to be in the top right-hand corner, and they moved it to the bottom left when they decided to go with this vertical menu. So a bit of a refresh. I'm not sure if that was, no, it was towards the end of last year that they had that refresh. So this is your vertical menu, and this is where you will spend a lot of your time clicking on doing things. Now, as I scroll down on this page, which is the page that you will land on, it's giving you all sorts of activity in here as well. So it's telling me that on the 3rd of April that 3 people unsubscribed. Then, you know, I subscribed some people on the 13th of April. So if you go all the way back, it tells you. Now, one thing I will touch on just very briefly before I go any further, and that is about unsubscribes. So a lot of people worry about unsubscribes. They worry so much that they don't actually send out any emails at all because they're worried about the unsubscribes. I couldn't be further from more opposite to that. I'm all about getting people into my email, and if they decide to unsubscribe, then that's their choice. They're not my potential client or customer. But if I'm putting more people into the top, you know, essentially you would have heard the terminology of it being a funnel before. If I'm putting people into the top of my funnel and continuing to put people in the top of my funnel, I don't worry about the people who are unsubscribing, because it's not like I have a subscription list of 100 people and then day by day people are unsubscribing. Nobody's being added, and I'm not building that email list. So we do build our list by adding people to it, and people subscribe to it naturally as well. So we have a pop-up that comes up on our website for people to subscribe, and that's how we also get people into the top of our funnel as well. So I'm just going to go now, I'm just going to flick down before I go into create. I'm going to flick down to audiences. So that is the 3rd button down on the left-hand vertical menu. So I'm just going to click on audiences, and remember I was talking to you earlier about having multiple audiences, and the only reason I recommend multiple audiences is if you have more than one business. And I'll give you an example. We were actually working for a business called All Properties Group. They're a real estate agency over here in Queensland, and we ran a separate audience for them in our Mailchimp, and we were sending out emails on their behalf. Now, you'll notice when I click on this that it comes up showing me that audience, and it also shows you that there's no contacts in it. Part of our contract was when we got to the end of that, we downloaded all the contacts and sent them to them. And so we deleted those contacts. There's no contacts in there anymore for them. But for us at this stage, we are just using our Mailchimp for our Altitude Business Solutions. So because it's only one business, we only need one audience. We don't need to have any more than that. It used to be that Mailchimp would ask you to have multiple audiences. Now I think, if I'm honest with you, the best way to run it is to have one audience for your business. And I know there are people out there who have multiple businesses, and that's why I mention this. If you have multiple businesses, set an audience up for each business. And then you can use tags to separate people within that audience. So it used to be that you would set up audiences to separate people, but now you're going to use the tags feature, which we'll get into in a few minutes also. So as you scroll down, always seems to be within Mailchimp that the home page is about some stats. It's about what tags you have, the recent growth that you have. So, you know, since the 21st of March to the 20th of April, we've had 94 new contacts go in to subscribe. And then where those subscriptions came from and how they got in there. So there's all different. If I go down, there's 5 more growth and traffic sorts there. So things that have come through either from our CRM system or somebody has filled out a form on a website. They've come from a few different areas, or we've imported them. What's really interesting is it's actually, and I'm not sure, this is a paid feature. I was going to say I'm not sure, but it does actually have paid feature on there for me. So that's great. Part of the paid feature is that you get to see the demographics of your audience, which is really interesting as well. So you can see from our audience that we're 67.2% female. And it's also telling us that the highest age group is that 45 to 54. What's interesting about this, and what I normally find in the majority of clients that I'm working with on Mailchimp, is you attract your tribe. So if you are a mid-40-year-old female like I am, well, I'm attracting my tribe, absolutely. So that's normally how it works. You know, when it comes to people being attracted to you, it's all about them seeing something familiar in you that you know, makes them feel comfortable. So that's why people are normally continue to open your emails or keep you on your the mail out list. And then as we scroll down, it talks about engagement. So it's talking about my top locations there. What's really great to see is my top location is Brisbane. I'm halfway between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So I do have a couple. You've noticed down here, my number 3 is in the USA. If I was to go in and have a look, I would think that there's not too many in the USA. We have dealt with a couple of clients over there. But one thing that you need to think of is some people's email servers are based overseas as well. So it's making it look like the email is sometimes being opened somewhere else that it's not. And then this engagement section, to me, this is really important. So this is about a marketing engagement. So you'll see the percentage of subscribers who are highly engaged and often open and click on our emails is 52%. That's a really great stat. That's what you want to see there. The percentage of subscribers who are moderately engaged and sometimes open your emails is 19%. And only 17% of subscribers who are not engaged or rarely open our emails. So that tells me 2 things. Firstly, you know, the rate at which our emails are landing in people's junk mails is probably very minimum. And it's also telling me that the content that we're sending out is stuff that people are interested to read. So that's why we've got that 50% often. So that's what you'll see when you go into your audience screen. Now, up in the top left-hand corner, you'll notice there's 2 buttons. One says Manage Audience and the other one says View Contacts. We're going to click on View Contacts for now, and I'm going to very quickly take you in. So this is telling me that my audience is 962 contacts and 848 of these are subscribers. So that means we have approximately 120, let's say, or not quite 120 of people who have unsubscribed from the list. And as I said, because I'm adding, you know, 100 a month, it doesn't bother me that 100 are falling off. So we do update our subscribers list often, and anybody that has unsubscribed from our list, we will delete and remove from Mailchimp, because we don't want to be paying for people that we aren't actually emailing. So that's just a little tip for you as well. Now from this screen, this is where you can actually add any contacts. So you'll notice we now have a horizontal menu that grows across the middle of the screen. And if we were to just add a contact in here, we can say add a subscriber. And it's going to take us to the next page where you can simply just enter their details. Now it's at this point that normally people ask, oh, look, you can put people's address and phone numbers and everything in there. Can you use Mailchimp as a CRM system? Not if you want to be successful, no. It's a little bit clunky. The only reason that these sections would be filled out for me, like the address and the phone number section would be filled out, would be if someone was integrated through our CRM system, because it automatically updates that detail from there. Or if they've filled out a form that's been on our website, then that information lands in Mailchimp also, so it all integrates across. But other than that, I don't enter in any other details. I don't enter in their name. I don't enter in anything. And in fact, on our website, when it gets to the stage where it actually asks people, do you want to be on our mail out list? It doesn't even ask for name. It just says, put your email in here. And there's a couple of reasons why we do that. Firstly, is because when you are first building a relationship with someone who you want to do business with you, they need to like, know and trust you before they will A, do business with you, and B, normally give you their name and phone number. So when you're saying, hey, subscribe to our list, give us your name, email and phone number, you sort of feel like, oh, do I want to? Do I not want to? Where if I say, look, I'm going to send you some information, subscribe to our email list, just put your email here. It makes it nice and simple. And people feel that there's a little bit of anonymousness, if that's the right word for it, when they just put in their email address. Now, one point I will point out to you as well is at the very bottom, there are 2 things that you need to consider. First of all is tags, and I'll explain tags in just a second. But the last 2 little points here that you need to tick, where it says this person gave me permission to email them, tick, or if this person is already in my audience, please update these profiles. So these 2 points are very important. So the first one referring to if the person gave you permission to email or not, the question I normally get at this stage is, how do you know if someone's given you permission to send them an email? If they've given me their email address, they're expecting to hear from me. That's how I feel about that. So do I have a form where they tick yes? I'm happy for you to send me emails. If you're going to my website and you're entering your email address in, you're happy for me to email. If I'm meeting you at an event and we're networking, I'll ask for your business card and I'll say, is it okay if I send you an email? And they'll go, yeah, that's not a problem at all. And I'll go, great, there's some great information in there for you. And they're happy for me to send their emails. So I always tick yes, because I'm always making sure that everybody that I am entering in is happy for me to email them. The other thing that you need to consider also is that if somebody is, I hear this from a lot of businesses, somebody purchased a product off me, does that mean that I add them to my mailout list? Absolutely. Yes, it does. And people say, oh, do I need to ask for permission? If I purchase a product from your website and I don't hear from you, I will be disappointed. I'm expecting to hear from you. Yes, I might get something and unsubscribe, and that's perfectly fine for me to do. But if I buy something from your website and I hear crickets, and this happens to me all the time, I buy from a lot of small businesses, and it really frustrates me when I buy a product from somebody, and I'll give skincare as an example. I apologize if there's anybody on here selling skincare, but you could learn from this. That skincare is only going to last me 6 months, 6 to 8 months. If I don't hear from you within the 6 to 8 month mark, I'm disappointed, because I feel at that point in time, I should be getting some sort of a, hey, how are you going? Have you been using the product? You should be just about run out of it now. Would you like to purchase another lot of product? I should be getting that, but I can tell you 99% of the time I don't. And the one company that I have heard from via email, text message, all sorts of things they keep sending me, I have been doing business with or buying products with them for 25 years because of those email reminders that they send out. They go, hey, it's Christmas. Do you have anybody that might want to purchase this? Or, let's get your Christmas shopping sorted. Here it is. Or do you have something for Mother's Day? And I fall for it every time because it's easy. It lands in my inbox. They never send me stuff that I don't really want to know about. They're sending me some educational pieces throughout the year. So I've been doing business with them for 25 years. So if someone gives you their email address, they want to hear from you via email. Send them an email. If they don't like it, they'll unsubscribe, and it's all good. Now, in relation to adding tags, now this is where I was talking about how you can separate your audiences, and I'll give you a good example. I'm going to refer to our business for this. So if I meet somebody at a networking event, and I'm going to say I'm at the Chamber of Commerce on the Gold Coast, okay, that's an event that just pops into my head. So we're at the Chamber of Commerce on the Gold Coast, and I meet somebody at that Chamber of Commerce, and I take their business card and I say, hey, is it all right if I send you an email? I come and I enter them in here and I add the tag, and you can simply add a tag by clicking on this plus button. Now you'll notice any tag that I've created previously will come up, and there's heaps of them because we use tags for everything. We also were running webinars and workshops before we were involved with ASBAS. We were running them through Eventbrite, and our Eventbrite account was linked up to Mailchimp. So every time somebody purchased a ticket, we'd also add a tag about that event, which was really handy. So you can add any kind of tag. So if I was at the Chamber of Commerce networking event, Gold Coast, I would put Chamber of Commerce Gold Coast networking event, or even just Chamber of Commerce Gold Coast. So that tells me that I met that person at the Chamber of Commerce. Now, why is that so important? Well, as you can see, just in the last month, I've had 100 people go into my database. It's really hard for me to remember where all of them came from. It's really important that I keep track of where they came from, and you can have multiple tags on people. So if you are a business, for example, I'll stick to skincare again. If you are a business that you're a skincare business and you went to the Chamber of Commerce Gold Coast event and you met somebody, I would be tagging them Chamber of Commerce Gold Coast, and I would be tagging them male or female. Now, why would I be doing that? Well, I might sell male facial products and I might sell female facial products. And at one stage or another, I might be having a sale on my male products. That doesn't mean you can't send it across your whole database. Of course you can, but if you're wanting to specifically talk to all of the males that you have met, then you can just send an email out to all of the males that you have met who were at the Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce event, or all the males in your database if that's what you like to do. And that's just one example of being able to segregate. What I like about the network marketing one is that if you are actually going and networking to these events regularly and you meet somebody at the Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce, the next time you are going to a Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce event, you can send a quick email out and say, hey, really looking forward to seeing you all on Friday at the Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce event. If I don't see you, please come and give me a wave and say hello to me. Looking forward to a really great time. And I send that to all of the people who I've ever met at that event. Now that will do one of two things. Firstly, you'll get to the event and people will be looking out for you. So it rather than you constantly going up to people and saying, hey, how are you? People will be going, hi, Kerrie, I got your email. How are you going? Yep, great. The other thing that it will do also is that there will be some people who maybe the Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce has not actually emailed to tell them that they have an event coming up. So they're like, oh, there's an event on? I didn't realize, I missed it. Oh my goodness, quick, I'm going to get there and buy a ticket now. So, and then people will be coming up to you and going, oh my God, it was so good that you sent that email. It just reminded me, I totally forgot that this was on. Now you find that that kind of thing happens, particularly in networking, if you are going to free networking events, because people will forget about the free networking events. So it gives them a little reminder. But that's as simple as adding in a contact as just going to add contacts. Now, you can import a list, and you can do that by simply going to where it says add contacts on the horizontal menu and go import contacts. And it says, how would you like to import your contacts? Now you can upload a CSV file, so an Excel spreadsheet. Just keep in mind of sort of what columns you're going to have. So there should be a column for the first name, column for the last name, column for the email address, column for the mobile phone, etc. Whatever you're going to do. And Mailchimp really easily recognizes it and picks it up. And the other thing that you can do is you can copy and paste. So if I've already got that spreadsheet there, rather than uploading it, I can simply copy everything and then I can paste it into Mailchimp as well, and it will pick up all of those contacts. You'll notice at the very top, the top left-hand corner where it says import contacts, it says choose method. So how are we going to import? Then it's saying import, so it puts all the contacts in. Then it asks you to organize the contacts. That's just making sure that the tags that they have put on the columns are correct. So the column that they've named email is email, but like I said, Mailchimp is pretty good at picking it up, but it will just double check with you. Then it asks you for tags. So if you're uploading a few, like a lot of people's information from an Excel spreadsheet or from an event that you're going to, this is where you would say, add the tag Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce to these people. And then you can say match and complete. So part of the process, when you get to the match process, it does ask you to tick that box where it says, if there is somebody in my database with this same information, please update them. The reason why I recommend you do that is because otherwise you end up with duplicates, and you don't want duplicates in Mailchimp. You want, if somebody's entered their email address in and they're already in there, you're just saying update that email address is fine if they find it in there. So that is audiences. And the reason why I touch on that first is because if I go straight in and I start making an email or creating an email, you're going to be like, hang on a second, how did that audience get in there? And that's obviously the first step that you would take if you were also building a list as well. is that you would want to build an audience. Now, one thing I will touch on here is how do you build an audience? Now, we actually run a webinar, and there'll be details of it coming up for you very shortly, but we run a webinar on what I call, it's nearly, email to income. So it's, yes, this is about how to use Mailchimp, but if you want to know how to email to create income, then that's probably the next webinar you go to. It's not Mailchimp specific. It just talks about the process of getting people to buy through email. But one thing that is really important is, getting as many people in as possible. And how do you get those subscribers? Well, like I said to you, entering people in at a networking event. The one thing that Mailchimp has, a lot of people say to me, isn't this complicated, And I say, no, it's actually not. Mailchimp has an app, and you can upload contacts into it via the app. If you're like me, I actually have an embedded form on my own website, so I can go to that, or I can direct people to that as well and tell them to subscribe there. I have linked my subscribe to our mailing list through to our social media. So if you are using Facebook as an example, you can actually have a subscribe to our mailing list button, and people click on that, they enter their email address in, and it will land straight into your Mailchimp. So that's another way that you can do it, or by promoting as well, sending it out. So we send it out very often via our socials that, if you click on this link, you can subscribe to our mailing list and you'll get X, Y, Z. And we send them out relevant information. How often do we send emails? Look, we try and aim for once a fortnight. We do have, and I'll show you that in a few minutes, we do have a little trail set up for people to get emails once a fortnight. But, when people get to the end of that trail, I think we're up to about 34 emails at the moment. When they get to the end of that trail at the moment, I haven't written a new email for a couple of weeks, so I'm probably a bit behind with that. But really, it just depends on what you're comfortable with. When we're working with clients, we say, you know what, just start out with once a quarter. If someone's going from sending no emails to sending emails, starting somewhere is better than not starting anywhere. And then once you're comfortable with that, let's go to once a month. If we were to sit down and talk about the once a month, that's 12 emails for the whole entire year. And once you have a structure, you do your first one and you have a bit of a structure, the rest of them are very easy. So that's all I'm going to say on building audiences. Does anybody have any questions on that before I move on? If Mailchimp isn't used as a CRM, would you say Mailchimp you use for newsletters, but your CRM is for your clients? This means you have your clients on two systems. That's correct, Flo, absolutely. So what we do is normally, if somebody's in our Mailchimp, they could be customers or they could be potential customers, but anybody in our CRM system is only customers. So let's just say, it takes anywhere from 12 to 18 touch points via digital for somebody to do business with you, believe it or not. So if you're an online business, which is what we majority are, that's what you need to look forward to. But I will say you can cut that down significantly by going to networking events and meeting people face to face. I've met people twice at networking events and they've done business with me. So that's a big difference there. So if somebody subscribes to our mailing list via Mailchimp, they are a potential customer. If they decide to do business with this, that's when they go into our CRM system. So we don't double up as such, but anybody that goes into our CRM system goes into our Mailchimp. We have that connected. So they'll start getting our regular emails, but anyone in our CRM is only people that we are actually doing business with or potential business with. So if I've maybe made a phone call to somebody and I think, gee, I think we could really do business together, then I'll put them in my CRM system to help me get that contact, but not until then. Otherwise, they're people in my Mailchimp. They could be from anywhere. And some of them I don't know because they just subscribe through our website. So it's about me building up that relationship with them. Our aim is to tell as many people as we possibly can about these fantastic free webinars that ASBAS is running before they're no longer here. So that's what our aim is. So that is audiences. Number one thing is don't be afraid to add people to your mail out list. I know there's this fear of spamming people and I don't want to annoy people, but if you're looking at growing your business, as I said, particularly digital, 12 to 18 contact points. So if they meet you at a networking event and then you send them an email the next day, and then, 4 days later you make a phone call to them, well, you've already had 3, but you need to get to 12 to 18 from a digital level before they'll do business with you. So, I always aim for 12 and try and get them doing business with me before then if I can. So the next thing that I'm going to talk to you about, and obviously there's lots of features here for you as well, and I'm not going to get a chance to go into them today, but I will just touch very briefly on the sign-up forms as well. So this is where I was talking about you can add a pop-up or embed it to your website. So if you are a little bit digitally inclined and you run your own website, then it's really as simple as entering in a piece of code to the header or footer, and then saying, I want that pop-up to come up after 5 seconds. So, when you go to a website and you sort of just start reading and then bang, it pops up. So you can have that happening as well. And then of course you can go and have a look at all of your tags and organize them however you need to as well. When it comes to segments, you can separate your contacts that meet certain criteria. I'll be honest with you, I don't use this feature at all. And I'm yet to also use the new features, which is collecting feedback from your audience in relation to surveys. So it's probably something I will do and be able to report on that next time. So that's, as you can see, when something new is in Mailchimp, they bring it up in pink so that you can see that it's a new feature that's been added there. Lots of competition at the moment, so they're planning on adding a few things. Now I'm just going to, before I go back up to create, I am just going to touch on campaigns because that's another important part of Mailchimp. So I'm just over to the left-hand side, going to click on that now. And this is all of the campaigns that we have ever run. Now I want you to keep in mind that there's a few different things that you can do with Mailchimp. So you can send an email out. You can actually connect your social media accounts and you can have social posts. You can also have we've seen surveys there, but you can also have websites and all of that kind of stuff, surveys, everything. So campaigns refer to everything that you've been sending out, and you can separate them. So you'll notice in the left-hand corner, you can separate them by audiences. Obviously, All Properties Group doesn't have anybody in it, so we don't need to worry about that. But also down here, you can see to the left-hand side, it's giving you the option to view by type. So you can say, show me all the emails, show me all the automations, which is obviously a paid feature, show me my landing pages, any ads that I've done, because you can actually do ads through social media as well. Any postcards, yes, you can send postcards out via Mailchimp, and I have tested it and it works very well. Any social posts and any surveys. So they're the different types of things that, that you can do. So when it refers to campaigns, it's talking about all of those things. So the list that it's bringing up is all of the emails that, all of the campaigns, sorry, that we've actually done. So when we sent an email out, we normally do a social post of it as well, so that it goes across to our socials as well, particularly if we're advertising webinars that are coming up. What are postcards? You know, postcards that you get in the mail, that you get in the post. You can actually send postcards through Mailchimp. Printed postcards will turn up to your clients. And you know, the really cool thing about it is you don't even need to have their address. They will find their address. And I tested this out. I entered in a client's email address with no other details, and a postcard landed with that client. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, you can send printed postcards. They do take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to come as well. You just need to be mindful of that. So as we go down, you'll notice the first email was the email that we saw on the home screen, which was my 5 spots list for April email that we sent out. Again, it's given me the stats of that also. As we scroll down, we sent out an email which was about all of our April webinars that was coming up. And then we also did a social post on that one as well. So we made sure that that went out over our socials as well. What's interesting is the open rate. You know, a lot of people ask me, what is the ideal open rate? The average for Mailchimp is around 24 to 25%. Obviously, ours is a lot higher. We just really work on sending out stuff that people want to know. And people want to know what are our April webinars? What are they? What's coming up? So, and then again, you'll notice, we don't send a lot. We've got our March workshops and webinars coming up. So you'll notice that the percentage of click through is still in the 30% for those ones there. January, a little bit lower at 29%, but to be expected because obviously everybody is on holidays around that time. What's interesting is that our Christmas thank you, which was just, hey, hope you've gotten through the year that was 2020. Thanks so much for supporting us and doing business with us. That got a 46% open rate. So it's interesting, what people will open, and it is psychological kind of to be able to figure it out. So you can see all of the different ones that we've gone through. Here's a social post as an example. So we had published this one. It was about a workshop that we were doing about making an entire month's worth of content using Canva. It reached 169 people, had 181 impressions and got 9 engagements. So it pulls out all the stats from where you're sending it also. Now over to the side here, because I am, obviously I'm a paid client of Mailchimp, I can actually create folders. So this is really handy for me to be able to put things into folders to make them easier. So I can add these 2 particular folders to make them easier to find. I'm just going to go to this onboarding folder here because I have an email that's in there that is the email that we started out when we first went into business together. We just called it onboarding series because we didn't know what to call it. But this is something really cool that you can do with the paid version of Mailchimp. So I'm just going to click on that now. Now, what we can actually do is we can set up Mailchimp to send out a series of emails. So we've called this one our onboarding series. So when we meet somebody, they automatically get an email. We do need to come and spend a little bit of time in this particular email and get it all sorted, because I can see our open rate is a little bit low at 28.7%. We like it to be up in the 30s. So even though our audience average is not too bad, but you can see here, there has been 211 people who have actually completed the series. So have gone all the way through to the end of the emails. We've sent 16,467 emails. Now, if you think we've got time to actually sit there and individually send that amount of emails in the last 2 years, that's a big follow-up. So as we go through, you can see it was created on Wednesday, the 15th of May, 2019. So that's how long it's been going for. And as we scroll down, it's going to give us a few other stats because Mailchimp is really big on stats. So, how many people have opened that email, the total number of opens, 8,148. Unique clicks per open, 8.5%. That's pretty good. The total number of clicks. Then this here is the monthly performance. That really doesn't mean too much, if I'm honest with you, because it's just telling you on a monthly basis how many people have opened that email. What's interesting is that, through this time period here, if I go back, what's this, June 2020, we're a little low. Let's go April 2020. You can see that not only is the click-through rate, but also the number of emails. What's really interesting is that everything was down. And I think people were a little bit overwhelmed with emails at this point here. Would you not agree that through COVID, you heard from companies that you hadn't heard from for 7 years? Because I know I did. All of a sudden, companies like Pillow Talk were hoping that I was doing okay throughout this crisis. Everyone wanted to send emails. And so even I was a little bit like, and that was really reflective in the number of people that were clicking through and opening our emails, and that I think they were just a bit overloaded. But you can see here we are in December, January, February, we are back. And there's certainly a lot more opens going on there. Now you can have the demographics. They're just loading. It could take a while for it to come up. That's a game where it tells you the predicted demographics. But these are the emails that I wanted to show you. So this is a really cool feature. Now Linda's asking, if you change from the free to paid account, does it use the data from your initial subscription? Yes, it does. So it just, and that's the same if you go from the paid version back to the free. I've had some clients that have done that as well. And it does sort of just continue your account. It just doesn't give you access to all of those features and stats that you can see. So this is our workflow of emails. So basically when you become an email subscriber of ours, so when we do business with you or you come to a webinar, you will start out and you will get this first email. And the first email is a welcome email, and it has an opportunity for you to download a PDF, which is about improving your body language. So just a little bit general, something that everybody wants to know about. You can see from the open rate that people are interested in it, 45.6% of people opening that email and 7.9% click-throughs, which is great. So it's telling you that, that email that has gone out, and then we can set up a follow-through email. So after they get that first email, the second email, 14 days later, they'll send out this one, which is about joining your local Chamber of Commerce. And then the third one, 14 days later, will go out. So you can see this information here relates back to blogs that we have written. We've written a number of blogs that are on our website. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to our website. So we were trialing a lot of things. So as we go through, every 2 weeks, you will get an email from us on all different topics. 6 productive tips to help you work smarter and not harder. You can see that they're all kind of all over the place. Now, if I'm honest with you, from a branding perspective, this is probably not what I recommend to do. And we will be going through and changing each one of these emails and updating them to be a little bit more specific to our brand so that we're really talking to our client. But it's interesting to see the ones that really do get opened and not get opened. So it's been a really great opportunity for us to do, I guess, a bit of testing of what works. But you can see, if you were to join our email list today, so you were to go to our website, every 2 weeks, up to 34 emails. So that's over a year's worth of emails are already written. Every 14 days, you'll get an email from us on a different subject. And then as we go to the bottom, you can start to see we started to become a little bit more brand specific. So effective ways to market your business online. Online marketing versus offline marketing, how to rank your websites, a reason why SEO helps your business. So our blog started to become a little bit more brand specific. Our open rate went down, yes. Our click-through rate is still pretty good, but we're now really talking to our potential client, and that's what's important. But I wanted to show you this feature because it's really clever when you know that you can meet somebody today at a networking event and you can enter their email address in, and they're going to get an email from you once a fortnight for the next over 12 months. So that is, essentially 60 something weeks. Yeah. So that is a lot of emails that are already pre-done that we don't have to worry about. And so that automatically, as soon as they are added to that audience, the Altitude Business Solution audience, they start getting email number 1. And then they work their way all the way through until they get to the end of the series. Now, there are some people, 212 of them, who are sitting here waiting for me to do a next email. So what's really interesting is out of all the people that we've subscribed, and I know that you're seeing our list there, is at 950 something or 960 something people in our emails, but can I tell you, we've put so many more in. If I had to take a guess, and it would just be that, it would be a guess, I'd say we've probably entered in over 2,000 people into the top of our funnel. The only people that are in our Mailchimp account are those people who are subscribed to our emails. And if they're unsubscribed, they've only unsubscribed in the last 30 days because we clean it out every single month. So we've entered so many more people into the top of that funnel, and they've chosen that email is not the way that they want to communicate with us. So do we not communicate with those people via email? Absolutely. We don't void that trust at all. We don't, clients of ours know that we have 2 systems, and that if they unsubscribe from our Mailchimp system, that they'll still be getting information from us related to their accounts, which you have to send out, obviously. But it's certainly been a lot more people going to the top of that funnel than what is there at the moment. So that's just a really cool thing that I wanted to show you before I went in and created one, because, being able to have a series of emails that you can send out. So imagine if you had this set up where you had your 12 emails. So you're going to send out 1 email a month, and you had those 12 emails set up. And every time you met somebody, the first thing that you sent them was a welcome email that said, hey, welcome here's a little bit about us, here's something free that's going to help you out. And then from there, you sent them an email every month and it automatically happened. You know, that would really take the pressure off, and it does really take the pressure off when you meet people having to worry about sending them something. So that is something really cool that you can do with the paid version of Mailchimp. So now I'm going to go into creating an email. So up to the top left-hand side, I'm really conscious that we've only got 6 minutes left, and I understand that, but today was about just giving you a really good view of I guess, what Mailchimp could do and a little bit of what it looks like. So when you go in to create an email, now they are having a bit of an upgrade at the moment. So I'm just going to say, so here it's asking you, what do you want to create? Do you want to create an email? Do you want to map out a marketing journey? So there's certain things that you can set up as well. Again, paid version there, landing pages. So all of those things that we spoke about. I'm just going to say it's a simple email because the majority of you will be sending out a simple email. And from there, it's going to ask you two things. First, you need to put in an email campaign. So I'm just going to call this one test 1. And then it's asking me, do I want it to be a regular email? Do I want it to be an automated email? If I click on automated, remember, I think automated is a paid feature. It's then saying, you know, what kind of automation do you want to set up? And do I want it to be a plain text email? So this is where it's no images or anything will be included. Or do I want to do some A/B testing? So that is where you can send up to 3 versions of the same email with different pictures, maybe different fonts, something a little bit different wording, so you can get an idea of what works best. Today, I'm just going to stick to regular email, okay? Because most of you are just going to be sending a regular email, but I just wanted to show you what it could do. And then I'm just going to say begin. Now it's at this point where your screen may look a little bit different to mine. And I know that that's going to be a little bit frustrating for you, but Mailchimp are actually in the process of changing the way that they do their emails. So it could very well be that you don't go into a page like this. It could be that you go into a page where you just start designing your email straight away. So they're just looking at the way they change things. So some accounts are in the beta version of the new Mailchimp, which they're working on. I've still got mine in the old, so at this stage. Now up here, you'll notice it says test 1 because that's what we named our email, and you can edit that name at any stage. So we could change it to test 2 if we wanted to and save that. This doesn't mean anything to anybody else but you. It's just what you've named that email. The first thing that it's asking you is very simple. You've just got to go through these 4 steps here before you can send. So firstly, who are you sending the email to? So you choose the audience that you want to send it to. So if I go through and pick out to Business Solutions, now it's saying, do you want to send it to all subscribers or do you want to only send it to a specific tag? So this is where you could say, do you know what? Only send it to people that I've met at Beenleigh at the Chamber of Commerce. But in the case of this email, I'm going to leave it all the same. Now you do have the opportunity to personalize the to field. It is recommended, as you can see, it is recommended there by Mailchimp. It will help you not go into the spam file. You just need to make sure that when you write your email, that if you're going to personalize the to field, and I will say, yes, I'm going to personalize the to field and I'm going to say I want the first name to go in there. You just need to be careful that your email is not written in a way that it's really noticeable if that name is not there. Okay, so a lot of people, like I like to write hello and then would have the first name, because then after that, you know, if I just said hello and there was no name, it wouldn't seem so strange. It would just be hello. But if it said hello Julie, well then that makes it personalized. Just being really conscious of also not putting like hello Julie, comma, because then if you don't have a name in there, like someone has subscribed through your website and they haven't put their first name, it's going to be hello space comma, and it's going to be really, really obvious. So you can not personalize that, or you can personalize that. As it says here, personalized will help you not get into that spam folder, which is where we don't want to be. Now it's saying who is this coming from, and you can edit the coming from. So it doesn't have to be just coming from the email of the account holder. It can be coming from a different email address, and same with the name. So I'm going to put Altitude Business Solutions in there. It just picks up the first name of the account, but you can put whatever you like in there and press save. So straight away you can see that that's all set up, and you'll notice that the little buttons over to the side go grey when you've entered it. Enter in a subject line. So this is a test, is all I'm going to put in. Now preview text is interesting. It appears in the box after the subject line, depending on how you've got your email account. So how you've got your email set up. So it sort of will have the email subject line, then we'll have a little preview text. Now, if you don't fill out the preview text here at this point, the preview text that will be shown with the first few lines of your actual email. So it's not the be all and end all if you want to, but if you want to get across in short, in a short few words, you can see 150 characters there, exactly what your email is about and make it make sense, then I would suggest you fill out the preview text. And then when you fill out that preview text, you just press save. In the case of this, I'm not going to fill it out.
It's 1 o'clock.
Yes, Fleur, hopefully I answered that question for you. But yeah, if you personalize the to field and you don't have their name, it'll just be blank where that field is. So just make sure you're writing your emails so that it makes a little bit of sense. All right, so I know we're right on 1 o'clock, guys. I just want another 3 minutes of your time. Obviously trying to give you as much value as I can here today. Now, here's a little secret for you. So you won't have all of these are the layouts that you can choose from. Now, obviously I have a paid version, so I have a lot of layouts to choose from, but I do know that this first version here, which is the sell products, it's on the free version of Mailchimp. You have that layout. But I want to encourage you to click on themes. So you'll notice that on this horizontal menu, the second one in is themes. When you click on themes, there is a whole heap of themes that come up for you that you can choose from also. So this is just a little hidden feature that people don't know about with Mailchimp. And I do apologize, I'm not sure if it's available on the free version, but if you go into the themes, you can see, really quickly if you need to send something. I'll give you an example. This fall colors one, I was really in a hurry when I sent out that thank you Christmas email on the day that I sent it out. And so I literally just used that email. And I think I put a different picture in the background, but the background was red. So everything was the same. And it was nice and quick. So you can choose from these themes as well. You can create templates in Mailchimp also. So once you've created, you can say save this as a template and it will save it as a template. But for today, I'm just going to quickly go back to layouts and then click on this first one, which is sell products. Internet's being a little bit slow. And again, it's at this point that your screen may look a little bit different to mine. So you may not have this is what I call the builder option. This is where you have all of the tools over to the right-hand side and your actual email on the left. But Mailchimp is moving to a feature where you can actually change things on your email. So how it stands at the moment is this is the template that has come up. So you can decide if you want to keep any of these elements or delete them. As an example, I don't want these two at the bottom, the two pictures and the wording. So I'm just going to hover over it and click the rubbish bin. It says, are you sure? Yes, I am. I'm going to delete that out, and it's going to delete that out straight away. I also don't want this wording up here, which is showcase your products. But before I delete it, I want to show you how I would edit it. If I wanted to keep it there, you just hover over the top of it and then click on the little pencil that you see come up. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because the only place for you to be able to edit that wording is actually over to the right-hand side. You can't edit it on the actual email itself. So a little bit different to a lot of programs. So I'm just going to say test, test, because that's just easy for me to remember. And then once I've edited that text, I can click save at the right-hand side and it is all done. But because I don't want that text there, I'm just going to hover over it and then click the rubbish bin and delete it out. Now, when it comes to pictures and Mailchimp, Mailchimp has a library of images that you can create. So if I wanted to change this image here, this is one that Mailchimp has just put in for the purpose of the template. And I can say, I would like to do a few things. I can replace it, I can edit it, I can link to it, and I can put alt text in it. I'm just going to say replace it. and it's going to take me to my library of images. Now, these are images that I have uploaded into Mailchimp. So you can see in the top right-hand corner, there is a little upload button. So you can upload images into here. So if the image that you wanted wasn't here, you can upload it just like you can most other things. If you had your Mailchimp integrated with Canva and you created an image in Canva and said, send it to my Mailchimp, this is where it would land. It would land in your, what I call Mailchimp library or your files. So you would be able to access it. For the purpose of this test, I'm just going to click on Digital Toolkit as the image that I want in there. And you'll notice I print next and my Digital Toolkit image is now in there. So the other thing that you can do with these images, which is really important, what I feel, is that to add a link to them. So you'll notice back over on the right-hand side, there's a couple of things happening, but I'll just get to this first one. It says replace, edit, or link. So if I click on link, this is where you can type in the web address. Now, this is really important for most images because when we're on our mobile phone, we're really in the habit of pressing on images to see where they take us. So if you are advertising, for example, your logo should have your website link in the back end of it. For this example, I would be putting in the Digital Toolkit website as an example. So that's where you can link it in. Now, when you upload a photo, you sometimes get this error message where it says this image is so big it might cause slow load times or get clipped in people's inboxes. So it's saying here what we need to do. It says, let's fix it. If I just click on let's fix it, it's going to take me in, it's going to open it up, and then I can simply say save, and it is going to automatically fix that for me. There we go. Error message is gone. Now, why it can't be a little bit simpler than that, I don't know, but if you go into it and open it up, it resizes it properly and you close it out and you're all done. You can also just change what size the image is displayed at by moving this toggle over here. So you can have it at 50% if you want to. If you want it to be real prominent, it can be 100%. Just always make sure you save and close at the bottom. Now, when it comes to editing our text, one of the last things that I'm going to show you today is that, again, you do have to edit your text over to the right-hand side. So any wording that you want to change, then you can change over on this right-hand side. And then also, again, if you want some of this to be bold, you'll see all of your toolbox is very similar up the top here to what it is in, say, Word or other programs as well. There is a style section, so you can change the style text. You can specify the font if you want to keep things really on brand. You can specify the size and the color as well if you want to change any of that. And again, it's got all of that in there as well. So you can also, when you make these changes, this is really good. If you have an email with multiple blocks, you can say, apply this style to all the blocks in the email. So you're not actually, just applying it to one, you can apply it to all of them. And then there's settings as well. So this is about the settings of this particular section. You can have one column, or if I click on it, you'll notice it has two columns and it actually divides it up into two columns. So you'll be very familiar with this in some newsletter emails that would be going out as well. So, and then when it comes to, I'm going to save and close that and very quickly show you this button feature. This is a button, so you can put anything in that button text and you can link it to your website, your social media. You can link it to wherever you want to link it to. So, click here to get tickets now. And then enter in the web address where that's going as well. There is advanced options that you can fill in as well. You can have a title, attribute, etc., but you don't need to worry about that too much. I always say open in a new window so that it opens up in a new window to them, doesn't close down the existing window or get rid of the existing window. And then you just save and close. And at the very bottom, the last section, you'll notice this here. This is all actually created by Mailchimp, and this is in relation to spamming. So if somebody wants to unsubscribe, they need to know what list that they're a part of and how they can unsubscribe. Click here to unsubscribe. So I don't ever change any of this. But one thing I do change is the social media down the bottom. If I go click to edit, it gives you the opportunity to put in your your social media profiles, or if you don't want them there, like you're not on Twitter, you can actually delete Twitter out. And then you can add, I think, you know, another service that you can add is email. So there's a number of services that you can add in, and a whole heap more. Brand new social media platforms are just been added in the last little while. So some of them I haven't heard of. So it's very interesting. But that's how you can actually create an email. And as I said, yours may look a little bit different to mine. Now, Angela's asking if your audience's emails are always kept confidential to the whole audience. Yes, they are. So if you send an email out, it doesn't come up saying that this has been sent to, you know, 980 other people, and here are all their email addresses. It just sends it to that one person. Once you've finished editing your email, you can say continue up in that top right-hand corner. Now from here, it may bring me up some errors, because errors, yes, there are errors. So it's telling me that I need to remove some errors. So this is really good for me to be able to show you. So it's very, if you put in a button, like an example, I put in a button and I don't have a link to it, it's actually telling me that I need to actually fix it, do something with it, and if you go in, it will actually change it. It's also telling me that I need to enable my socials. So when we went into those little social brands, we didn't say what our actual social accounts were. Now, once you've got all of that sorted, you could say, I would like to add this post to my Facebook page. You can select what page that you want it to be a part of. As you can see, we are a part of many because we look after lots of different clients. And you can change the wording here, and you can add an image if you like. When you click on add images, it's going to go straight to your library, and you can choose an image from your library so that when it posts on social media, it will have the image and it will have this is a test as the text if we were to send it. You can do the same with Twitter, and you can add your Instagram account also, which is really cool if you're one of those people that likes to post it all across. And then from there, if everything was right in this email, if I was to click save that there, if everything was right in this email, in the top right-hand corner where it says send, that send button would be grey and allow me to send, and I'd be able to send it. But because it knows, hey, you've got some mistakes in this email that you need to fix up. It's like Big Brother's looking over your shoulder. It's really good. So it's not allowing me to send it. It will allow me to finish later. So I can just click on that and say, oh, I'm too busy now to fix it. I'm going to come back later and do that. And in order to access that, you will need to go to all of your campaigns, and it should come up there. So if I go back to all of my campaigns, oh, clicked on too many things at once then, sorry guys. There we go. So there it is, test regular 2, and you'll notice that it's marked as a draft so that we can still go in and edit it from there. So I know that it's always it's not easy for me to get through everything in 1 hour. And I used to run this workshop over 2 hours. So we would actually be able to see the process of sending an email out properly. And then you would get to sort of see it all. But really is today, it's just about giving you a really quick overview of the whole entire program so that you can then have an idea of how to use it and what to go in it. And I know that there's been questions coming through as we've gone through today, but is there any other further questions that anybody has? Because now's the time to really put them in there so I can answer those questions for you. Obviously, you've come through this webinar today via the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Program. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one with appointments with any experts, those appointments for an hour of one-on-one live online training are just $44, which is great. Or there's the 2-hour workshops, which are $25 as well. So that might be something to consider, or you can continue to come to these fabulous free 1-hour webinars while they're still running. A lot of people ask us, when is our next webinar coming up? Our next one coming up is on Wednesday, the 21st of April. It is growing your business using social media, so a little bit different to what we're doing today. As I said to you earlier, one that you may be interested in the future is on the 27th of April, and it is email to income. So that is where we actually go in and talk about the subject lines and the things that you need to do to turn the emails that you're sending out into people actually booking your services or buying your product. So there is a little bit behind it, and you do have to, obviously consistency is the key. So guys, I know that feels very rushed, but if you do, and we're a little bit over time, and I do apologize, I know your time is valuable, but I want to make sure I try and give you as much information as I can in these sessions. So if you have any last questions, now's the time to enter it in. But what I will say to you when it comes to emails, what we have learnt in our last, 2.5 years of having an email set up for our clients is consistency is the key. Consistency of sending things out, of, sometimes you're going to send things out and they're not going to work and it's going to be like crickets. You're like, nobody's opening it up. What's going on? That's an opportunity to learn. But what happens is what most business owners do is they get paralyzed by fear and they go, I tried email marketing once and it didn't work. No one opened my email. They didn't for a second think that maybe it was the subject line or the content that they were sending out, or maybe it was even the time that they were sending it. We just had a client that we dealt with a couple of weeks ago who has been consistently sending out emails, didn't realize they're actually going out at 10 o'clock at night. Now for me, I know if I'm getting an email that is not between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday, that I'm more than likely dealing with a company that's from overseas. And this business was a mortar and bricks business based here in Australia. So I'm saying to them, firstly, you're part of that person's inbox from the very beginning of the day. So you have, 100 emails in there at 8 o'clock. You don't want to be put into that pile. So sending it at a reasonable time during the day would be a much better option for you. And probably more so sending it in the afternoon. I always say from about 2:30 onwards, that's when we're rounding up as someone that kind of works office hours as such. That's when we're rounding up. So you're either rounding up to go, let me check my emails that are all accumulated throughout the day so I can clear out my inbox. Or secondly, if I'm finishing work at, between 5:30 and 6 o'clock at night and I check my emails, if you sent one after 2:30, you're going to be at the top of my email list. The person that sent one at 7 o'clock in the morning is going to be at the bottom, because that's how my email works. So just remember that as well. So timing is everything. Consistency is key, and making sure your subject lines and your images are relevant to what you're sending, and you will have email success. You just have to make sure that you are looking at what's happening and you are reading your audience and what they are saying. If they're not opening it, they're telling you something. They're telling you that they're probably not happy with the subject line that you're using. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me personally, and you'll be getting a copy of this recording in the next couple of days. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all again soon.